Life is unpredictable. One moment, everything seems under control, and the next, the world shifts beneath your feet. That's what happened to my friend's cousin, a mother of two, expecting her third child. She went to the hospital that morning, ready to bring another life into the world. But by the end of the day, she was fighting for her own. She went into labor early that morning, but as the hours wore on, her condition worsened. Her blood pressure skyrocketed to a dangerous level. It was so high that her body could no longer handle it. She became paralyzed. The doctors, trying to keep her alive, had no choice but to put her on a ventilator. Her lungs were failing her. At that same moment, while she fought for breath, I was having a pleasant evening with my friend, her relative. We laughed, shared stories, and enjoyed the calm of the night. But the peace didn't last. When I dropped him home, his phone rang. Something terrible had happened. I called him later that night. His voice was trembling, barely able to speak. The words he spoke felt like they echoed from a different world. She was gone. She passed away early in the morning on September 27th, leaving behind a husband and 3 children, one of them, her newborn, still struggling in the ICU. It all seemed impossible to believe. That morning, she was walking. She had abdominal pain and went to the doctor at 7 a.m., still strong enough to go on her own feet. Her husband took her to a small, inexpensive hospital. They gave her an IV, likely just a painkiller. The pain went away. Within 2 hours, she was back home. But the peace didn't last. By 10 a.m., the pain returned. They rushed back to the same hospital, and the same thing happened. Another IV, another temporary relief. But this time, something went wrong. Horribly wrong. As soon as the IV was administered, her body reacted violently. Seizures. Her body convulsed, and the medical staff at the small clinic panicked. They couldn't understand what was happening. They told her family to take her to a bigger hospital, a place equipped to handle emergencies. When she arrived at the National Medical Center, the doctors took one look at her and knew she was in critical condition. The family, desperate and terrified, was asked to sign a document before she could be admitted, a formality, but one that felt cruel in the face of their fear. Not long after, she was gone. The doctors explained that her blood pressure had risen so high it caused blood vessels in her brain to burst. She was declared brain dead. Just like that, in a matter of hours, her life was over. The tragedy didn't end there. The doctor spoke to her grieving family, pleading with them and anyone who would listen. "Don't cut corners with healthcare," he said. "Take your loved ones to good hospitals. Don't try to save money at the cost of their lives. What's the point of saving if you won't spend it on their health?" Now, her newborn child fights for survival in the ICU without the warmth of a mother's embrace. 3 children, too young to understand the weight of the loss they'll carry forever. And a husband left to pick up the pieces of a life shattered by a decision that, in the end, saved nothing. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes it's unforgiving.